Hey guys, Tad here from Attack of the Killer Podcast with a new Patreon exclusive bonus video for you, the attackers. As always, thanks so much for your support, for listening to the show, for giving us your hard-earned money to keep it going. We really, really appreciate you guys, and we try to bring you some great content to show that. So if you were part of the last horror hangout, which you should have been because it was awesome, and we had, I think, the biggest turnout we've had maybe ever since we started doing it. We had Stefan for the first time. It was great seeing him. But yeah, it was awesome. We've been doing them on Sunday afternoon, so pay attention to the Patreon page. We'd love to see even more of you guys because we know there's a few that don't always make it. And we have some new patrons, which is great too. I love seeing new names on that list. So as I was saying, if you were there last time, you might have seen what I'm going to show today, but I just sort of teased it, and I want to open it and sort of give a full review, and that is NECA's Creepshow action figure. So our sponsors at Shudder, which you can get a free month of Shudder with the promo code AotKP, brought back Creepshow, which infamous Stephen King's Tom Savini, George A. Romero collaboration from the 80s was a film. Then they did a great sequel, Creepshow 2, not so great sequels, Creepshow 3, and then Shudder brought it back as a anthology series with 2 stories per episode, and they've done 2 seasons so far. The second just had its finale just recently, got uploaded, I guess, to Shudder. So with the resurgence of the brand, NECA and Funko and several other places finally got a hold of that licensing and are doing stuff based on the actual TV show, which is sort of more based on the comics or graphic novels, whatever you say. So this is the Creep, and it's sort of confusing because it's not an ultimate figure, but it's also not a retro cloth, and I think that's confused a lot of people because they see that it has cloth on it and it doesn't have the window box like their Ultimates, which, teaser, you're going to get a review of this shortly, but it also doesn't have the accessories, but it's in the scale of 7-inch figures. I think they just knew they didn't have enough accessories to make it an ultimate. I don't know. It's a little bit cheaper. Like, I think they're like 25 compared to like 30. I don't know. But I had yet to find this in person, and I have so many awesome friends that are always looking out for me. And Jason, on one of his toy hunts for Cracktastic Plastic, which another podcast in the PFPN you should be listening to, they all went to Des Moines to go to Jay's, and I think Jason must have found this at a Target. So, I had him snag it, but I know Rod has picked up some stuff for me recently, and another great attacker, Rod. Thanks so much, and I'll be reviewing that stuff when I finally get to hang out with him soon, hopefully. But anyways, Jason picked this up for me at retail. Box art is gorgeous. Check that out. So it has like the illustration from the comics, open window on the front. It looks like a comic book. Has the 10 cents up here. Really cool spine with the logo and a picture of the Creep. Has a still in the back from the actual show. I won't read the whole thing because it's long. Same up here. Same sort of exactly what you'd expect. I'm seeing if they have who sculpted this one. Thomas Gwynn. So, yeah, really cool. And everyone was like, are you actually going to open it? And yeah, I'm going to open this bad boy for you guys because I want you to see how great it is. And I want to see how great it is. Okay, so it's sort of nice because this one doesn't have a billion accessories, but this is really cool. The packaging is even cooler than you could see from there. It has the tree background that matches the picture on the back, so you can sort of pose it. NECA's always had great packaging ideas. And so he's pretty plain. He's, see if I can get a good view on there. He's got like a cloth robe. He comes with his lantern, a skull, and extra hand, and a little mini comic book, which is sort of like meta because he's technically in the comic book and he has a comic book. It's sort of cool. But I've always thought the Creep was sort of cool, like a version of the Crypt Keeper, from Tales from the Crypt. I would, P.S., like NECA, you're not watching this, but if you were, we want a Crypt Keeper, please. And so I'm just sort of filibustering while I grab these twisty ties, because I don't have my cutters up here, and they aren't those like rubbery ones that they've been using recently, which is surprising because I thought that was pretty much the new norm. But this figure is really sort of out of the blue. Like I said, with the whole like 7-inch scale, and he's not ultimate, but also not a retro cloth. He's sort of in between. But I'm stoked that it's an actual sculpted figure and that he's not the Mego. I think they should have done this with Victor Crowley, to be honest. I am bummed that we didn't get an ultimate Victor Crowley. So here we go. He's pretty, he's like, there's almost nothing to him. He's so skinny, which, you know, he's a decomposing body, so it makes sense. But I'm excited for this. Just for the longest time, Creepshow was sort of like a cult thing. And of course, Fangoria, all that covered it. It had 3 of the biggest names in horror on it. But the idea that we're finally getting some Creepshow merch, and people are still complaining, you know, oh, it's from the TV show and not the movie. Like, maybe I'm just not a big enough fan, but can you tell me why that's a big deal? Why it's a difference? It's still sort of the same character, based on the same character at least. So I'll set that down for a second so we can get a good look at him. Be a little closer to the camera. Great head sculpt. You can pull the hood down and you can see he's fully sculpted on the neck. He's got real wispy hair, which is cool. It sort of sticks out. He's got like a burlap hood, but I think I've seen people actually pull, and this is sort of weird, but yeah, you can pull up and see like he's dry brushed and sculpted pretty much like a skeleton underneath, you know, like a zombie almost. He'd be actually pretty cool as just like a zombie, general zombie action figure. But he's got the ultimate figure articulation, so he's got really nice elbow bends, which they recommend, like with NECA stuff, to heat it up before you start bending because he can break, especially when they're this fragile. But he's got rotating wrists and, you know, the hinge wrists on both. Really cool sculpted feet. But, you know, obviously the face is what it is, and with the sunken in eyes, really great on the detail, like no slop, but of course it's sort of hard to mess up a dead looking guy, you know, because he's already sort of sloppy and gross. I'm not a huge fan in general of cloth on figures, but it works here, and he has like a bendy wire in his hood so you can, you know, shape it to his head, which is really cool. Because in the show, he's more like that, you know, where you can't really see him as well, pulled over his eyes a little bit. But it'd be a shame to hide that sculpt. I do sort of wish they did an ultimate just so you could have like a couple heads. But he's, like I said, he's a little bit cheaper. And I don't know. I get spoiled with the ultimates at times. And then I'm like, no, save me some money and just give me one good head, which he has. So let me show you the accessories real quick. He's got a sculpted lantern, which I'm going to be very careful with. That looks like it has some great detail on it. It looks like everything in here has a little bit of the creep hair. But yeah, it sort of has a glow to it. It doesn't have an LED, it doesn't light up or anything. A lot of people were sort of expecting that. But, you know, good detail to look sort of vintage. He's got a skull, which I feel like NECA could just use this accessory over and over again. And actually, he has a skull, but he actually has a ball joint inside, so you could actually replace his head with the skull. Huh, I didn't realize that. That's sort of cool. But you can also place it in the hand. And I'm not going to get out the extra hand and put it in quite yet, because like I said, they're very fragile. But the coolest accessory, if I can get it out of the packaging, is exhilarating watching me bend over. A little mini version of a Creepshow comic. And even, I mean, tiny print. You can see on the back it has the ads. See if I can actually get it to focus, but you guys know. And then it opens and actually has a comic inside. It's only one page, but I mean, at this scale, we're lucky to even get something that looks this good. So yeah, really cool. And with that extra hand, you can put it in his hand and he can hold it. I'm going to have to look and see what people are doing for poses and stuff. I sort of like to look online and get inspiration on how people have these displayed. I imagine with his like skinny little body, I'll either find a stand of some kind or lean him against something, because he probably won't stand very well on his own. The more articulation you add, the better for poses, but also worse for actually like getting him to stand. So yeah, that's the NECA. I guess new to me. It's been out for several months now, but NECA's Creepshow, the Creep action figure. I highly recommend, if you find him, check him out. I think I also saw him on like Entertainment Earth or maybe Big Bad Toy Store. He was selling out here and there, but it seems like he's hitting Target. Like some of the stuff that Target's getting now is getting there a little bit late, but better late than never. It's nice to see some new stuff popping up. So again, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being an attacker. Thanks for just being awesome. You guys are the best, and we'll see you next time on Attack of the Killer Podcast.